The paper introduces the Hierarchical Identity Role-Playing Framework, HIRPF, a novel approach to achieve role-playing in large language models, LLMs, by leveraging identity theory. This framework constructs complex characters using multiple identity combinations, striking a balance between flexibility and precision. The authors develop an identity dialogue dataset for this framework and propose an evaluation benchmark including scale evaluation and open situation evaluation. Empirical results indicate the remarkable efficacy of their framework in modeling identity-level role simulation, revealing its potential for application in social simulation. The implementation of role-playing agents, RPAs, can be categorized into two primary approaches: prompt-based strategies and fine-tuning methods. Prompt-based strategies employ detailed instructions to direct LLMs to adhere to specific expression and behavior patterns of roles, offering advantages in terms of convenience and flexibility. Fine-tuning methods achieve more precise simulations of complex roles by utilizing specialized data collection and training processes, but they are costly and exhibit less flexibility due to the requirement for role-specific data processing and training. Identity theory in sociology argues that an individual's self is composed of multiple identities such as familial identities, e.g., spouse, parent, and occupational identities, e.g., artist, doctor. These identities shape behavior by carrying specific meanings and expectations that guide how individuals act. The authors use this theory to implement role-playing from the identity level, using combined identities to form complex roles. The HIRPF addresses two main challenges: organizing and accurately modeling diverse identities in the system, and ensuring controllable and flexible integration of these identities. The authors focus on two dimensions of identities: personality traits and professions, designed identity isolation and explicit control to address the two challenges. Identity isolation includes intralevel and interlevel isolation. Inspired by the methods that combine the LoRa and Mo, the authors specify the corresponding LoRa parameters for each identity in each dimension to achieve intralevel isolation. Furthermore, they alternately insert identities of different dimensions into the model blocks to achieve interlevel isolation. The authors achieve explicit control with hard masking and soft routing. The hard mask is constructed according to the input identities to be activated and fed into the soft routers, so that the fusion weight of the soft router's output of the inactive identity module is ignored, enabling flexible integration of only interested identities. To construct a dataset for this framework, the authors utilize ChatGPT to initially generate identity dialogue datasets encompassing both singular and multiple identities. They fine-tune Llama 2 Chat on this dataset to develop a model for identity-level role-playing. In order to evaluate the role-playing ability of identity-level agents, the authors propose a systematic benchmark, including scaled tests and open-ended situation tests. Their model's performance on this benchmark demonstrates better identity-level fitting capabilities and has potential for application in social simulation. The Hierarchical Identity Role-Playing Framework, HIRPF, is a novel architecture designed to model compatibility between identities, enabling flexible and controllable fusion of identities. The framework ensures identity isolation via intralevel and interlevel separation, using control routers in each block to update only activated identities during training. This allows for distinct identity training and explicit control over the model's identity combination. The updated attention parameters WJ are derived using a gating mechanism, where the input features EJ are scaled into a positive range using the sigmoid function sigma. The diagonal mask matrix MJ sets the weights for active identities to 1, ensuring only these weights influence the model's output. During training, HIRPF receives dialogues and associated active identities, constructing role prompts that are tokenized before model input. In the inference phase, users activate specific identities and role prompts to start conversations. The authors have developed an identity dialogue dataset that includes dialogues featuring individual personality traits, professions, and multiple identities. The dataset construction involves generating daily occasions, plots, and dialogues tailored to each personality factor, profession, and multiple identities. The dataset statistics show an average of 9.52 turns, 11.59 words per response, and 220.67 words per dialogue, with an average of 1.67 active identities. To evaluate identity-level agents, a benchmark is constructed, including scaled tests and open-ended situation tests. The scaled test assesses the fit of each identity, using the Big Five personality scale and a profession scale. The profession scale is modeled after the personality scale, evaluating the character's suitability for a specific profession. The test implementation involves using ChatGPT to question the agent and engage in multiple rounds of dialogue to elicit detailed responses about each item. The open-ended situational test evaluates the accuracy of multi-identity fusion, using a more realistic and interactive approach. The test implementation involves generating scenarios that require the agent to demonstrate its understanding of multiple identities and their relationships. Here is a combined summary of pages 5 and 6 of the research paper. The authors propose a novel framework, HIRPF, for simulating personality traits and professions in dialogue agents. They design open-ended situational tests to evaluate the agent's ability to express various character identities. The tests consist of 8 distinct scenarios, each corresponding to a specific trait and profession, where the agent interacts with characters driven by ChatGPT. The authors fine-tuned their framework on top of Llama 27B Chat using their identity dialogue dataset and compare it with prompt-based methods, including Llama 2, Llama 3, and ChatGPT. The results of single trait simulations, shown in Figure 3, demonstrate that the author's method outperforms baseline models in accurately representing single personality polarities. Their method achieves superior performance across all dimensions, surpassing ChatGPT in depicting most personality traits, especially negative ones. The authors attribute this advantage to the limitations of ChatGPT's ethical and moral frameworks, which hinder its ability to accurately express negative traits. In single profession simulations, shown in Figure 4, the author's method consistently achieves the highest fidelity scores in dimensions consistent with the agent's professions and markedly lower scores in non-professional dimensions. This distinction is critical, as it shows that the method not only excels in accurately fitting into specific occupational roles but also effectively discriminates between different professional identities. The open-ended situational test results, displayed in Table 5, reveal that the author's method achieves superior accuracy in simulating the trait of agreeableness, outperforming ChatGPT. The author's framework demonstrates its ability to accurately represent personality traits and professions, making it valuable in applications requiring accurate role portrayal and differentiation, such as training simulations, automated customer service, and interactive educational systems. The research paper discusses a novel hierarchical identity role-playing framework, integrating LoRa and Mo technologies, to model and integrate multiple identities for authentic and flexible role-playing. The framework addresses limitations of conventional role-playing methods by incorporating identity isolation and explicit control. A specialized identity dialogue dataset was constructed for training, and a comprehensive benchmark for evaluation was established. The results show that the framework outperforms traditional prompt-based approaches and matches or surpasses ChatGPT in certain performance metrics. The paper also highlights the framework's potential for advanced social simulations, particularly in understanding group dynamics and demographic effects. The authors demonstrate the framework's capabilities through various scenarios, including questionnaires, debates, and social simulations, showcasing its potential in fields like sociology and social governance. The proposed framework focuses on demographic role-fitting, aiming to accurately simulate specific groups. By integrating this framework with retrieval enhancement technology, individual behaviors and characteristics can be simulated using detailed personal information, biographies, and memories. The dataset, based on ChatGPT, incorporates measures to ensure credibility and authenticity but still differs from real conversation data. Future work plans include incorporating real conversation data to enhance realism. The framework is designed to facilitate role-playing at the identity level, focusing on personality and occupation dimensions. The data and model training processes ensure the exclusion of sensitive or harmful content, ensuring safety and integrity. The summary highlights key terms, concepts, and methodologies, explaining their purpose and significance, and connects the content of these 2 pages, showing the flow of ideas. It also identifies limitations, assumptions, and future work discussed. The research discusses the correlation between personality traits and their impact on creative writing. It highlights the role of agreeableness, neuroticism, and conscientiousness in shaping writing styles. Agreeableness is linked to kindness and tradition, while neuroticism is associated with sadness and emotional instability. Conscientiousness is characterized by organization and perfectionism. The study presents ablation experiments to analyze the impact of each trait on writing styles. The results show that agreeableness and conscientiousness positively influence writing quality, while neuroticism has a negative impact. The research also explores the role of professions and open-ended situations in creative writing, demonstrating how different traits can affect the themes and dialogue generated. The findings suggest that understanding personality traits can help in creating more realistic and engaging stories. Here is a combined summary of pages 13 and 14 of the research paper. The authors present a framework for generating realistic and engaging dialogues between individuals with different professions. The framework involves designing plot themes that revolve around topics relevant to a specific profession, as well as scenarios that require individuals to venture beyond their professional expertise. The authors provide instructions for generating plots, including prompts for single professions and scenarios that involve interactions between individuals with different professions. The plots are designed to be realistic and unfold naturally, with conversations initiated by one of the individuals. The authors specify the format for outputting the generated plots and dialogues in JSON format. The dialogues are intended to be casual and lifelike, reflecting everyday human communication, with each person speaking at least 50 words per turn. The authors also provide an example of an open-ended situation test, where an individual is invited to a cross-cultural workshop and must collaborate with team members from different backgrounds to create a presentation project. The scenario involves a culturally diverse team member proposing an unconventional project idea that may seem counterintuitive at first. The authors provide a prompt for the team member, outlining their role and task in the scenario. The framework is designed to generate realistic and engaging dialogues that can be used to test and evaluate the performance of language models in various professional settings. The author's approach involves simulating real-world scenarios and conversations, which can help to improve the ability of language models to understand and respond to complex and nuanced language inputs.